Are you an original or are you just a copycat of somebody that you liked and was inspired by and decided to mimic? This video is going to be discussing why we basically subconsciously master or copy other people to feel seen. This is very interesting because I have the back end of this, and there's a light and dark side to everything, including people copying other people, but also at the same time mocking them, ridiculing them for their uniqueness and their originality. So, if you've been watching my videos, I do want you guys to please like and subscribe. This also helps me and motivates me to create more conceptual videos and to do more research psychologically on why we do things unconsciously and why we allow things to happen subconsciously as well. So, this is one particular video with regards to why we subconsciously copy people we like and also why we want to copy people we don't like just so that we can feel an essence of presence and also importance. So, if you're new here, my name is Bianca. I basically come here, I'm a creative, I am dynamic, I have a background of arts, film, television, script writing, and I'm also venturing into business, B2B, human business psychology, and also software analysis. So, I basically have a creative brain, a creative mind, and I see solutions from, or I see businesses from a creative perspective that people don't see. And over the years, I've had to maneuver my own way of thinking throughout the world. I've had to create my own sense of identity, my own sense of autonomy, and my own sense of curiosity and personality. This, however, was very ridiculed, and it was also very humiliated. It was also very criticized because it wasn't the normal, copy and paste of what a successful person looks like or what a black girl should look like or act like or be like. So there was a lot of that with it. And I would basically say throughout all of that, it created an originality that I'm so proud of that I know is me. And the more I became very, very confident in my uniqueness and with who I am and why I am this way and why I'm okay to be, seen in a different way, the more I realized a lot of people who once mocked me would subconsciously copy me. And this was very interesting for me because they wouldn't do it in my face. They would basically try humiliate me and discriminate against me or make me feel smaller then, but would still take my words, my poetic words, because I like to rhyme a lot, and they would basically speak like me, to their crowd and their circle. And I found this very, very weird because, on the one end, you challenge what you don't understand and you are fearful of what you cannot control or perceive. But on and on the other hand, you are inspired by it and you subconsciously want to be it and learn from it. So that's the type of world that we live in. If we cannot understand something, we persecute it, we destroy it, we dissect it, we don't digest it, and we try control it. There's a lot of control rooms on new ideas and new concepts and new people and all that jazz, right? But with that comes mimicry versus mastery. For those that have really gone through the wire of what it means to really be original and to really stick into your original self, your authentic self, you know that it didn't come easily. And so, for somebody who just sees what you do and just decides to steal it, copy it, and paste it, I'm sure from your end of the perspective, it's so annoying as to why do people do that. And so, we'll talk about it more here. I've got my notes here, and I basically want to just say that with everything in life, there's a light and a dark to it. So if you have been on the other side of realizing that you you copy and you paste what you see in others, but you don't admire them from while you're with them. Please understand that this is something to do with your subconscious insecurity of not being given the freedom and the room to fully be your authentic self. And also realize that while I was talking in other videos, that we are running through a programming social construct of who we're supposed to be. So every person, including myself, was given sort of like a script of what they should act like, what they should be like, how they should speak, how they should behave, etc., etc. And it's up to you to deconstruct that and to realize what is for you and what is not you. How much of you is you versus how much of you is created and written by society and etc. So it's a handful, and it has been a work in progress because, like I said, on the downside, it's very interesting and very disrespectful when somebody thinks that they could just steal your whole personality as their own, while trying to mimic you and discard your throne. And then it's also very interesting to know how, because subconsciously, when we like somebody, we subconsciously, without even thinking about it, we lean towards how they talk. We smile more when they're talking, or we act in certain gestures because of how they are. So, from a human perspective, we need to realize that this is it's part of the human psychology of how we try to feel belong, or how we try to belong, or how we try to feel a sense of belonging to something that is unique and special and different at the same time. So yeah, I basically want to talk about the social chameleon trap, right? And within the social chameleon trap, let me just get this quickly. Yeah, within the social chameleon trap, we basically, I've noticed that we kind of analyze how how we're taught that body language. That's the first thing. We look at people's body language, right? And if you constantly working with people like I am, I've had to learn how to, or, within film and television, there's a certain kind of body language, when you script write, how to show that this character has an interest in this person without saying it. You have to, insinuate within script or within writing that, she leaned forward or he leaned forward, to get closer into her sphere. So there's so much that happens without the conversational aspect of liking someone and copying someone, to the body language of how we mimic, or how we create rapport with somebody. So that is one part of the social chameleon trap, is we analyzing how we subconsciously mirror body language and speech patterns to avoid social friction. And basically also something interesting that I notice in the digital scape, or in the digital landscape, 2026 has created sort of like an algorithmic personality, where it's about adopting trending personas to feel validated. And this has been an issue. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I will come back again and maybe create more examples on this. But because people want to be seen so badly on social media, and people want to have more likes, more credibility, there's this kind of social, yeah, a social, I mean, algorithmic personality that is created. And I think it's to do with the influences of influencers, as well as celebrities. So, for example, if you see the influence of Kardashians, right, and how most women or most girls these days have that kind of mimicry of trying to look like a Kardashian or act like a Kardashian, and their language like every day, every second. It's one of those type of algorithmic personalities, or maybe the American essence towards their language, how they speak. That is part of that trend of, if I speak more like this, then I'll be more appreciative and more validated into the social construct of being a cool person. And I find that very, very interesting. And I think this goes to the cost of borrowing those gestures as yourself. The cost of all of this is first, you're just mimicking somebody. That is not who you are. You have not even mastered yourself yet. And what happens is if you are creating a persona out of mimicry, when it's time for intimacy, into you see me intimacy, it becomes a challenge. And this is what society is experiencing right now. The point where we are done with the texting, we are done with the stage one, the stage two, the body language, the flirting, and now we got to, get off our screens and really get to know somebody. That for a lot of people is very, very scary because they have not reached getting to know themselves deeply. So imagine you now getting to know somebody who has created a persona based on this is how I've done it for all these years to be successful, and now you want real love out of those years of creating such a success. It's a very big challenge, and vice versa with male and females. You're told to be this certain person, and now you really want to fall in love, you want to be married, or you want to be with somebody who really loves you for who you are, but you haven't really loved yourself for who you are, and you haven't really mastered the ugly essence or the ugly personality traits that may have been ridiculed by people when you were young. So that is basically the cost of social chameleon trap, and also of borrowing so many gestures and personalities from people online and socially as well. How do we deconstruct the mirrors? I would basically say, one, you got to recognize the triggers that force you to go back into the safety of imitation. This is a huge one, especially those who tap into spirituality to steal. Oh, yeah, you guys really need to realize why do you feel triggered when somebody is liked for their uniqueness, and why do you feel the need to ridicule somebody but then at the same time steal and embody their energy? It's very important to understand what triggers you on this. Why do you feel the need to dehumanize somebody, but at the same time steal and, take the best parts of them and act it out as your own personality? And two, definitely distinguish between healthy learning through observation and compulsive need to be a carbon copy. In my experience, when I've had many copy wannabes, I call them wannabes, um, there was no healthy observation. There was no healthy admiration to my uniqueness. There was this constant obsessiveness to destroy my confidence into being who I am and why I love who I am, but at the same time this obsession to embody my confidence at the same time. And I found that very, like I keep saying, demonic and very obsessive and toxic and narcissistic. And this is why we need to really understand why it's important to deconstruct this and deconstruct the mirror of being a carbon copy, a copycat, and also the cost of borrowing people's personalities as your own, because it's really unhealthy. There's nothing wrong to you know say out loud that I really like this person's energy, I like this person's personality. There's nothing wrong at all, because we're all very unique and we all have different personalities and identities. But I think there becomes a point of mentally cognitive dissonance when you start feeling that you're entitled to that person's identity or personality, and you believe that they should not be that confident, and you believe that it's your willpower and your rights to humble them, laugh about them, mock them, only later on study them and want to be them. That is very, very unhealthy. And we need to discuss that in society, because if you want to truly be yourself and really master yourself and stop copying and have that subconsciousness of why you keep copying people, and it's important to really find what triggers you to do all of this and what triggers you to really be so compulsive in it as well. And then, last but not least, definitely it's important to evaluate the specific modern insecurities that drive our desires to be seen through someone else's lens. It's so crazy to me that, we are living in a digital space, and, everything is digital. And the more we have followers, the more we are considered attractive or likable, more than those who maybe just have 100 followers, So we jump on this. The more the merry, we jump on this quantity instead of quality. And this is where identity and personality gets really, really sensitive, because on the one side, you are embodying a personality that is just for quantitative resource results, right? You basically embodying somebody's light or the way they speak because you want to have A, B, and C in your life. However, you have no quality in the depth of embodying their personality. And so everything that you start attracting with that script or with that idea or with that concept of who you think you should be based on social attraction, it crumbles, and we've seen people literally crumble, have 15 minutes of fame. They've had 15 minutes of fame and we don't know them anymore because they have not really fulfilled their mastery of who they truly are and also embodied their own sense of personality. They come and they go. And so that is exactly what we see is that, if you are to really deconstruct the social and the subconsciousness of copying somebody, really important to understand your insecurities as to why do you do this and why do you feel that you need to be this through somebody else's lens or somebody else's personality. So, yeah, moral of the story, and what I want to leave with you here is create that shift to have radical presence, okay? I think I'll speak about this in the next video because it's very important. A lot of people don't practice radical presence. But what is important right now is definitely to master your own originality. Shifting from mimicry to mastery, okay? Mimicry is basically like a rat constantly chasing cheese, when in fact you could have the full block of cheese and it's yours. So the block of cheese is the actual personality that you could be and you could create for yourself, instead of I'm going to steal that section of Bianca's writing skills there. I'm going to steal that creativity there. I'm going to steal how she designs her body, or how she dresses for her body. You know what I mean? Like constantly chasing cheese until you really don't have anything of essence for yourself. This is really important to realize that master your own originality, because there'll come a time in life where people want to really know who you are. People want to know if they can trust you. People want to know if they can be your friend. People want to know if they can really just be themselves around you. And if you cannot be yourself, what makes other people feel that they can be themselves around you when you cannot even have an anchor to be you? So I'll leave it as that because it is a lot to really dissect, but I thought this would be a great topic to discuss because we are living in a world of mimicry. People are copying, 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 pasting, copying, and it's really getting boring. And those of us that have really anchored our own uniqueness and originality, we can already tell who is fake from those who are authentic and real. There's a beauty in that mistake, in somebody's way of thinking, way of speaking. There's a beauty in also with their defaults, you know, there's a beauty in their uniqueness, you know. It's very interesting how sometimes the very things that you may not like about yourself is the very thing that everyone loves about you. And I can really attest to that. I used to be laughed at for my teeth, and today I love my teeth. Today I really think that my teeth are beautiful as it is, you know, and the same as the way I speak, the way I write, the way I live my life. It used to be ridiculed, you know, but now all the aspects of how I view the world and why I'm so creative has helped me to really be unique in my work, in my business with my clients. They love my insights because nobody thinks like me and nobody picks it out like me, you know, and we are all thought of copying each other, you know, having the same set of skills, the same set of studies. But no, I really think that I must talk more deeply about this, and but let me know in the comments as well. I would love your engagement because then I know exactly what you guys want to hear, and I can do more research on that, and I can also just give you more of how yeah, how these topics have also healed me and really, really made me become the woman that I am today. So yeah, don't forget to share this with people, or if you really like this, let me know what you'd like to see in the next video, and let's talk soon. Ciao.